Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We find ourselves here on Tuesday of Aseres Yimei Teshuvah, Yimei HaSlichos, the days in which our Chazal tell us, Dirshu Hashem B'hi Matza'o. We should seek Hashem where He is found. He has full-time office hours, so to speak, during these days, a time that is right for us to be close to our Maker. We continue to daven for Chayalei Tzvah Yisrael, Refuah Shalem L'chol Petzua Yisrael, and a safe return of our hostages, as unfortunately we begin the second year of this awful time, dating back from last year, October 7th, and we dedicate our learning Le'ili Nishmat, Sarah and Daniel Shimon, Ben Harav Daron V'Sheli Hashem Yikum Damo. The next chapter is Kaddish Ma'alosa. Kaddish Miyuchad Bezeh Shikra Osek B'Chvod Shemayim. So let me just paraphrase that. Certainly for Americans, when you say Kaddish, the first association is death or mourning. But the Kaddish is unique, says Rav Melamed, because it really deals with Kavod Shemayim, the honor of heaven. And therefore we have to pay very careful attention, close attention, when it comes to answering. And to not become distracted and think of other things. And certainly not to do other things, to talk, to be involved in idle conversation, to do external activities while Kaddish is being recited. Gemara in Shabbos tells us that anyone who answers Amen or Yehesh Me Rabbah with all of his might, with all of his intent, his kavanah, then the decrees of 70 years are torn up. And when the Jewish people go into the shuls and they say Yehesh Me Rabbah with a loud, booming voice, then terrible decrees are ripped up in front of them. And when you answer the Kaddish, it arouses mercy from Hashem upon the Jewish people who are in exile. Because when the Jewish people go into their synagogues and their base medrash and they answer Yehesh Me Rabbah, here they use the different language, Yehesh Me HaGadol, may the great name of Hashem be blessed, then their remembrances go in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, much like we were just davening for Zichronos and Rosh Hashanah. And it's as if to say that Hashem is shaking his head in pain. And he says, Ashrei HaMelech Shahayim Mekalsin Oso Kach Bebeso Umusar Lefon of Ritzon Lagolas Yisrael. Again, this is based on the Gemara in Brachos and Daf Gimel. And the king says, oh wow, look at how they're praising God in their own house. And of course, Hashem then has within him aroused the will to bring us out of exile. Kivan Shonim Mekachim Bos Hashem. So since we are sanctifying Hashem, Tiknu L'Omer B'Minyan, therefore, it's required to have a minyan. It's a davar shebekadusha. Shakadosh Baruch Hu miskadesh al yedei eda miYisrael. Because then, through a collection of a minyan, which is then called an eda, a formal gathering, then Hashem's name becomes sanctified. V'niskin b'lashon Aramis, and it was established to say in the language of Aramaic. It's not Hebrew. Shahaisa shagur b'maysheni b'fi kol Yisrael. Because since we're talking about arousing mercy for the gullus, those who are in exile, the language at the time when they were in exile is, of course, Aramaic during the period of the second Beis HaMikdash. We see that in the Gemara, more so in the Yerushalmi, but certainly plenty in the Bavli as well. V'zeh targumo, and here we go. This is what it means. Yiskadal v'yiskadash, or Yiskadel v'yiskadesh, that's a whole other conversation. Shmo hagadol ba'olam shabarach kirtzono. We want to make great and sanctify the great name of Hashem that He created in His will. V'yamlich bo es malchuso, and He should rule His kingdom, and increase the sprouting of His salvation, and we should bring the Mashiach closer again. We don't have that language in the Sachashon v'karev Mashiach, v'yatzmach purkaneh, b'chayechem uv'yomechem, and in the lives of the people who are davening, and in their days, u'b'chayim shel beis Yisrael, and in the lives of all the people of Israel, b'meherav v'zman karov v'imru amen, soon and in a good time, and we'll say amen. And everybody answers then, Hakal Ona, Yehesh Me Rabbah Mavarach Le'olam Omeimaya. V'targamo, so what does that mean? Yehi Shmo Hagadol Mivarach Le'olam L'Olam Amen. May the name of Hashem, the great name of Hashem, be blessed forever and ever and always. Umamshech HaChazan, then the reader continues, Yisparach v'ishtabach v'yispar v'yisarman v'yisnaseh v'yisadar v'yisaleh v'yisalal shemo shal Kaddish Baruch Hu, that all of these wonderful praises, blessing and praise and glory and elevation and hidur and all these types of wonderful ways of describing the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lamala mikol habrachos v'hashrios v'tishbachos v'nechamos hamaris ba'olam, and Hashem's name should be greater, and all the great kindness of Hashem should be greater than all the blessings and songs and praises and comforts that we could ever say in the world. V'imru amen. Zeu ikur shel Kaddish, hanikur chasti Kaddish. When we talk about a half Kaddish, that's the main part of it. V'amnam b'derech klal mosifan al ikra odvarim. But generally, as we're going to see, we add other things to the half Kaddish as well. But when we talk about Kaddish, the main thing is the half Kaddish. We find that in davening, it separates between different parts of davening. The first half Kaddish that we come across is after Yishtabach every single day. And answering this Kaddish is considered so important, perhaps nothing compared to this. Even if someone is in the middle of the blessings of Kriya Shema, you're allowed to stop in order to answer. Again, it's a big conversation amongst the poskim. If you look in the Mishnah Berurah, if you look in the Shulchan Aruch and Simach Samach Vav in Orach Chaim, you'll see exactly where and when one could answer and what one is allowed to answer, depending on where you are in davening. Mitzvah larutz lishmo Kaddish, and one should run. There's a mitzvah to run and hear Kaddish. And if a person already finished davening, and there are two minyan in front of him, and one of them is saying Kaddish, and one is saying Kedusha, which one should you stop at to answer? Adav she'd start for the minyan she'omer Kaddish, she'malas HaKaddish chashuvim malas HaKedusha. Again, the Mishnah Berurah there in Nun Vav, in Siman Nun Vav, says that it's more important to hear Kaddish than Kedusha, which is probably counterintuitive. We would probably most likely say that Kedusha comes first, but really it is Kaddish. And the Zohar, it quotes here in a note, you know how much I learned Zohar, but Rav Melamed is actually often quotes Zohar, that in Chelik Beis, Kuf Chavtes Beis, it says, Shemalas HaKaddish Me'al Shar HaKedushos, Sheish B'kochel L'Shaberes Kol HaKlipos, L'Kaddish Hashem B'chol HaOlamos. Out of all the sanctified things that we say, Kedusha, Baruch Hu, I think that's what it means, that Kaddish is the greatest, because it can break all of the externals. And all the externals that are holding us back from becoming close to our true neshama and our true essence, we say it in Aramaic because we want to use it in their language, that we should fight off all those externals, and then we can get to what's truly important. But I think certainly we could glean from this the importance of not only saying Kaddish, but also listening intently and answering Kaddish, which I often tell people that if you're reciting Kaddish, the whole purpose of reciting Kaddish is to get people to answer. So if you say it silently and nobody can hear you, then it's basically you haven't done anything. So therefore, when reciting Kaddish, it should be done in unison, and also it should be done loud enough that everyone can hear. But we will continue this tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem. Please continue davening for Chal Yitzvah and Yisrael, for Shalom Chol Petzui, Yisrael's safe return of our hostages, dedicating our learning to Nishmat, Seren Daniel Hashem, and Rav Doron Vashel Hashem Yikam Damo. Thank you so much for listening. Kamar Chasim to everybody. We'll see you here next time.